Hey everybody, Mr. Riedl here. I just got finished wiping down all of my tables in my classroom because they have not been wiped in a while, and usually I have my students do it, but I needed a little bit of introvert time this morning, and that's something I love to do as an introvert, is have time to myself. As I was cleaning, I was listening to Janice, and she has a YouTube channel called Happy Teacher. And I also listened to Nicholas's, and both of these videos were the Introverted Teacher Tag video. And I felt compelled to make one too, so here I am. Now, Janice's video, she was the one who started the tag, and I really appreciated that she started it with the book called Quiet. And this is a book that I read last year, and I actually did a video on the whole book and how I felt reading it and my thoughts about it, and it was kind of like a book review slash sharing my life and how I'm introverted, and it's pretty long, and if you're interested in seeing that, then click up here. I have a link. In that video I talk all about that book and what I got for it, what I gleaned from it, how it relates to me, and how it helped me and understand myself better. So check that video out if you're interested. But this video, like Janice said on her video, is meant to be more fun and lighthearted, and so I'm going to keep this brief because I'm long-winded, and so I'll answer the questions that she got from a BuzzFeed article, and these are listed in the description box below and also on her video. First question: do people call you antisocial all the time? That is a very typical first question about introversion. That's actually a misconception about being introverted, is that they're antisocial all the time. In fact, when I read this book last year and I told some of my coworkers that I was very introverted, they were actually very surprised because I don't come off as antisocial or introverted based on the typical understanding in our culture, like the book Quiet talks about. And again, it's a great book. Like, I really recommend you reading it, just like Janice recommended it too. And the book talks about how our culture is very focused on being extroverted, and we have this extrovert ideal, and it's very prevalent in our country, in our culture, and in how people admire extroverts, at least that ideal of what an extrovert looks like on the outside. But I don't get called antisocial because on the outside I look very social. I can communicate really well for the most part. I'm good at small talk, even though I hate it, and I come across as an enthusiastic, amiable teacher. But on the inside, like, what true introversion is that even though you may or may not be good at being social, you need time to recharge, and you need time away from people, and you need time away from that social life in order to recover. And a typical term is like recharge your batteries, right? But really you just need a break in order to get to that place where you have enough energy to sustain yourself without going crazy. I am with people all day long. Like, I'm in school all day long with fifth graders and teachers, and it is really, really draining on me. Even though I love it, it's really draining. And so what I need time afterward to be by myself and have introvert time, which is why I love coming in early in the mornings and having alone time. But it's not just alone time, it's alone time where, for me, I have to be like doing nothing, or I have to be doing something brainless, like going on a walk, or wiping down tables. Or a big one for me is sometimes I just sit in my car and I just park and I just stare out the window. Because when I go home, I have a whole flock of family members to interact with it as well, and that's really hard for me since I was at school with a whole bunch of people all day long. So I have really learned how to, I'm still learning how to carve out introvert time, and I actually call it introvert time with my wife. We actually had this conversation about when would be good introvert time, and we found that I'm long-winded already, but this is important because this is a big deal in my life, is that I actually carve out time to have introvert time. So what I do is after I'm done with work, I drive home. It's about a 30-40 minute drive home, and then before I get home, before I say hi to my wife and kids, I have 4 kids, and I have 3 biological kids and 1 foster kid at home right now. So, and they're all under the age of 8, so it's really, crazy at times. So before I walk in the door, I either go to a park or I go to the side of the road or something, and I have quiet time. I have alone time. I have introvert time. I can't be looking at my phone. I can't have the car on. I have to turn off the car and either go for a walk or just sit in my car when it's off, staring out the window. So I need that time to decompress. That's a good word that I use a lot. I need to decompress my day and recharge my batteries. So yeah, that's something that has helped me, is really making that introvert time intentional. All right, question number 2. Do people try to convince you to be more outgoing? No, because of the fact that I fake it well, and well, actually, I don't really fake it. That's kind of the wrong thing to say. I intentionally try to be outgoing. I mentioned this in my other video. When I read the book, Susan Cain in the book, she talked about how basically you can be either outgoing or not outgoing and still be introverted. And because I am intentionally outgoing, like I intentionally introduce myself to people, I intentionally shake hands with my students, I intentionally try to show my students what it is like to be a respectable, personable person. Even though I'm introverted, it is still possible for someone who's introverted to force themselves to be, or at least look, outgoing. Because our world has an extrovert ideal, and I tell my students this: if you are getting an interview for a job, and you're in that interview, and you are like sitting right next to someone who is more outgoing than you are, and you have all the other same qualifications, then odds are really good that, depending on the job obviously, but odds are really good that the interviewees will select the more outgoing person because they're more personable, they're more, there's that extrovert ideal, that is prevalent in this country. And obviously it depends on the job, right? All right, moving on. Question number 3, do people ask if you're depressed or okay? I don't really open up that much because of the mask I put on, the outgoing mask. So I kind of put on a mask of being outgoing because that's kind of what teaching is all about. You're an actor on a stage, and you want to do your best to make teaching look fun. And if I'm depressed on my stage, then the kids are going to probably not be all that enthusiastic about learning. So with my friends though, and especially Jen often sees me in my depressed mood, in my moodiness. Most people don't, but Jen definitely sees me as more depressed. And just so you know, I'm not really depressed. I call it melancholy. I don't call it depression. Question number 4, do people ask you what you're thinking about? No, I wish they would, because I am thinking about a lot of things. And sometimes they do, but I love thinking deeply. And I think that's a big introvert trait, is thinking deeply. That's where the small talk thing becomes a problem, is that when you're just talking about the weather or just doesn't seem meaningful. But if you ask me what I'm thinking about, man, I'm thinking about some deep, deep things. Question number 5, do you have to take breaks to recharge? Yes, I mentioned that earlier. Number 6, do you have to take breaks to recharge after spending time with someone? Not with one individual necessarily. Yeah, maybe. It depends on what I'm doing. Like sometimes I go out to breakfast with my brother-in-law, and we get into some good conversations, and I'm exhausted afterwards because I put myself out there a lot, and I'm socially exhausted, if that makes sense. So yeah, it helps to take breaks, and I do that when I remember to. Sometimes I forget, and then I get irritable, and then Jen says, "Did you have introvert time today?" And I was like, "Oh no." All right, question number 7, do you purposely ignore a call if you don't know who is calling because you'd rather not talk to a stranger? I always ignore my phone calls, mainly because I'm busy, and phone calls they interrupt you, and I don't like being interrupted. That's why I love texting, is because I can respond back whenever I want. I do that with phone calls too. I just check voicemail and then I respond when I feel like it. Number 8, do you cringe when your hairdresser, manicurist, or strangers try to make small talk? Okay, so I have 2 examples, not at the hairdresser, but 2 examples for when a lot of people like small talk. And the first one is my dentist. He is such a great guy. I love my dentist. Dr. Hazim, you're awesome. However, he loves small talk, and I always see it coming because I know him, and I kind of get myself prepared for it, So I'm friendly, and I know that is how he's friendly, because he can only small talk at certain times, or if he's checking or cleaning my teeth or something, I can't really respond back. So that time before and after my cleaning, he loves small talk. And a second time where I experience a lot of small talk is when I'm giving blood. I give blood about 3 or 4 times a year. It's a regular thing, and I usually get a new phlebotomist, I think that's what it's called, a new phlebotomist every single time I give blood, even though I go to the same place every single time. And they always, ask you, so what do you do? Or do you have the day off today, or something like that? And I love saying that I'm a teacher, because there are so many different things that you can talk about with teaching. And then they usually ask me, what grade do you teach, or what school do you teach at? And so once we get past all those, then it's either silence, because I don't have anything to say. I'm just sitting there, and I'm fine with the silence. Or they are awkward and they want to ask more questions. Either one, because they don't like the silence and they want to small talk, or 2, because they're genuinely interested in about teaching. And my dentist actually had a 5th grader a few years ago, and so we had some good conversations about teaching and about math specifically, because he had some questions about how to help his daughter with math. And so that meaningful conversations like that is really great, because of the fact that I love getting into it like that. But sometimes it's just awkward, and small talk is, I just stop talking after I answer their question, and that's about it. But see, that's the thing, is that if you want a good job, most jobs out there require that you do some type of small talk in the workplace. And the other thing is that small talk is good because you're never going to get to those deep, meaningful conversations with a person unless you go through the small talk first. So oftentimes the way I think about small talk is that I think, okay, this might lead to something meaningful. So I want to force myself to be outgoing, endure the small talk, because it might lead to something fruitful and beneficial and meaningful. So that's kind of how I look at small talk. Number 9, do you stare at the ground so you can pretend you didn't see someone approaching? All the time. However, it's kind and respectful and considerate and polite to acknowledge someone, when make eye contact when you pass them in the hallway or something, and say good morning. But I usually walk fast, so it doesn't look like I want to talk. It's like I'm busy and I'm on a mission, and so hi or good morning is all you're going to get from me, and eye contact, that's about it. But I do stare at the ground sometimes, like when there's a lot of people around, so you don't have to say hi because there's too many people. Or I love holding my phone up because I'm like, oh yeah, I'm busy on my phone, but really it's off or something, and I'm not really doing anything. I do that a lot. Number 10, do you spend most of your time at a party slowly nursing your drink and or eating snacks? I don't go to parties that much. We go to social events, usually family events. Actually, probably who I spend the most time with are people from church and several of my friends are actually introverted too. So we say, how's it going? How's life? And if we say, everything's the same, then that's that. And we sit in silence for a while, and if something pops into our head, then we talk about it. But I rarely go to parties where I don't know anybody. Number 11, or sitting on the couch by yourself. So I would say that I'm definitely the kind of person at a party where I'm in the corner. So it's neither of these that were listed in these questions. It's more me standing off in the corner. And I love people watching. I think that's what I usually do at a party, is I sit in the back or in the corner, and I just kind of scan the room and I observe what's going on. Or what I love doing is playing with the kids. So if there's a game, or if there's like foosball or pool, or if somebody's starting up a board game or a puzzle, I am like zoned in, because I love playing with kids. I love doing games. I think that's maybe because why I became a teacher, because there's no small talk with kids. And if you try doing small talk with kids, they're kind of like, this guy is kind of weird. Like, why is he small talking with me? Or why is he talking to me? Anyway, small talk with kids is funny. Question number 12. Do people mistake your thinking face for a resting, mean face? Yeah, all the time. And I don't know if that's because I'm an introvert, or if it's just because that's the way my face is. So here's my greeting face. Hi, how you doing? Good to see you. Welcome to class. Good morning. Great to see you. Glad you're here. Greetings and salutations, something like that, as I shake their hands. So here's my resting face. I think it's pretty obvious which one is more friendly and welcoming at the beginning of the day. So I usually don't put my resting face on when I'm near people. Question number 13, do you not participate in events that would involve icebreakers? Or how do you feel about icebreakers? So as a teacher, this is a good teacher appropriate question. Sometimes I like doing icebreakers in class because of the fact that it might lead to something meaningful, and it might lead to friendships, or students getting to know things about themselves that they didn't already know. So I like the get to know you activities because it could lead to something good. Icebreakers with, I'm thinking of an event for teachers called Ed Camp. We have this event in Portland, but it's all over the country or world. Ed Camp PDX here in Portland. It's a bunch of teachers that come together, and it's kind of like a conference, but it's held regularly, and it is a place where teachers can share and collaborate ideas and fun things that they're doing in their classrooms. They can ask each other questions and help each other out. And I love going to those, not because I'm meeting a whole bunch of strangers, but because I'm interested in becoming a better teacher. But when you're interacting with a whole bunch of strangers, there's bound to be icebreakers, and those can kind of get annoying because I'm not there to get to know people. Well, I kind of am. I don't know. That's a tough one. Icebreakers, I'm kind of split on those, because sometimes I just want to get past that and just get to the meat of whatever it is that I am intending to learn about or do. And if icebreakers kind of delay that, then I kind of get annoyed with them, but I can see some benefit of them. Question 14, do you dislike job descriptions that use the term team player? No, because I think most jobs do require you to interact with one another and be a good teammate and collaborate. I think that's a good thing for everybody to work on, even introverts. The thing with introversion is that you need to try your best to be a good teammate. Hi.
Oh, are you filming?
Yeah, I'll be done in a few minutes.
Anyway, good morning.
Good morning. Sorry, somebody said good morning to me as they walked in the door. So I gotta wrap this up because my team teachers are arriving. My alone time is disappearing. Where was I? Team player. I think it's important to be a team player, and it's important to collaborate. Okay, fresh new battery. So this video is definitely going longer than I thought it would. I guess I have a lot more to say about this topic than I thought. That always happens, doesn't it? But I honestly do have to wrap it up because it's a teacher work day today, and I have a meeting in precisely 15 minutes. So hopefully I can wrap it up in 5 minutes, but it'll probably be 15 minutes. Okay, I was just talking about being a team player, and my team teachers are here, and we are going to have a meeting, and there's lots of meetings, and you know, most jobs require meetings and interactions, and I really try to teach my students that it's okay to be introverted and be outgoing at the same time. But it's also okay if you don't feel like being outgoing, as long as you can keep your job. Depends on what your job is. And also your relationships too. Like, this doesn't just have to do with work. Like, I talk about your job and your workplace a lot with my students because of the fact that, you know, being a student is a job, and you are interacting with people all day long. And I like to try to mix it up in my classroom, you know, do some individual activities, some group activities, so that it's a balance. But really, you know, as long as you get that time to recharge your batteries, and for me, I need my introvert time in order to decompress and be able to recover from the social exhaustion that I go through throughout the day. That's what's really important, and that's the introverted piece that means a lot to me. I actually just asked my students to write about being introverted or extroverted. A few weeks ago, I showed them a picture. Here is a very basic comparison. So I asked them, what are you? Are you introverted or extroverted? And then I asked them to write down what they think I was. And a lot of them think that I'm extroverted just because of that ideal, you know, that. But I talked to them about how, you know, it's okay to be introverted, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, that's how God created you, and you just have to figure out how to use that, you know, to help other people or to help yourself especially. All right, so moving on. Question 15, is introducing yourself fear-inducing? No, because I have forced myself to do it. You know, when I was younger, yes, definitely. But I've forced myself to do it enough where I've gotten good at it. So the more you do it, the better you get at it, you know. So it's not really a fear anymore. It used to be. Number 16, do you like using the internet because you can show your personality without having to deal with people? Yes. I don't think I really show my personality all that much on my YouTube channel. I still think I kind of wear a mask. And a big part of that is video editing. I say so much. And I take so many pauses when I am processing what I'm thinking. So you may notice in my videos, like right now, I'm not editing this because I'm thinking before I'm speaking. I mean, because I'm not editing this out so that you can see how often I pause. But so with my videos, I even feel like, because when I edit my videos, I block out my ums and my so's, and although it's hard for me to process what's going on in my head, so I edit it out a lot. So I even feel like that's kind of like a mask. So it's not my true personality. Although maybe part of my personality comes out, but I don't think it's the true me. So I don't know. Videos are really weird. Like, I don't know. I mainly do videos because I want to help people. The reason I started this YouTube channel was to help my students, and my first big video that really was seen by other people other than my students was my locker video, and the main purpose was to help students who didn't know how to open their locker. And so the purpose of my videos in the beginning was not to show my personality. The purpose was to help people, and my channel has morphed into different things like vlogging, and I used to do more Casey Neistat style vlogging, at least, you know, the best that I could do, and I don't feel like that was my true personality. I'm like still trying to figure out what I want to do with this YouTube channel, because I'm not really sure. All I do know is that I love helping people. So if that includes students and teachers and other people, then, you know, that if you could see my personality through that, then, you know, that's my intent. Then, you know, then that's a bonus. But my intent is to help the viewers, or to help anybody that's watching these. All right, question 17. Is canceling plans your favorite thing to do? Depends on the plans. Sometimes I really look forward to being with people, because usually the plans I make with people are intentional, meaningful conversations, get together for breakfast or something. If the plans are involving a lot of small talk or meeting people that I don't know, then yes, I would be happy to cancel those plans. Sometimes you just got to do it though. Question 18, and the final question is, does everyone try to fight you to be more social, but you're happy the way you are? That's a tough question, because me being introverted is not the only, like, that doesn't define me, who I am. I'm lots of different things. An introverted person is just a piece of me. I have other things that define me. For example, I am also a perfectionist. I'm a recovering perfectionist because I think that is a big flaw in me. And I see perfectionism as an addiction. So that part of me I do not like, because it is conflicting with my feelings about God's grace and mercy. And me trying to be perfect is basically conflicting with my belief about what God has done for me. Jesus is working on my heart with that, and that's for a different video later. But my introversion is something that I love, and this is something that I'm very proud of, being an introvert. And it says here, are you happy the way you are? Well, when it comes to being an introvert, yes, I'm happy being an introvert, and I love it, and I love being in those times of peace and quiet, and being able to use that time to be refreshed and re-energized. But I'm still learning about who I am. Like, I'm 35 years old, and I have been teaching for 8, 9, 10 years, and I'm still learning about myself every day. And I think that being happy with who you are is a lifelong journey. And I think last year, when I made that video about being introverted, that kind of wrapped up what I thought about myself as an introvert. I kind of accepted who I was with that, because I used to struggle a lot with wanting to be extroverted and wanting to be enthusiastic, and I thought that that's who I should be all the time. And over this past year, I've really come to terms and to understand that being an introvert, it's okay to be enthusiastic when you can, but that's draining, and I need to take quiet time to myself too. And all these people in my life are a good thing, not a bad thing. It's not that I hate them when I want quiet time. It's that I want to be healthy around them. And I want to be a healthy teacher and a healthy dad and a healthy husband. And the way that I am a healthy person is knowing that I'm introverted and being able to take that time for myself to decompress and make sure that I get the time that I need for myself in order to be healthy for them when I am social. Does that make sense? So I think that when I read the book Quiet, I really learned a lot about myself when it comes to being an introvert, and it helped me be proud of who I am as an introvert. But it brought up a lot of other things in my life too that I'm learning about myself that I'm not so happy with. So like I said before, trying to figure out who I am, it's a lifelong journey. So if you are one of my students watching this, I encourage you to not think that you have to have it all figured out by the time you graduate or by the time whatever the next milestone is. Figuring out who you are is, I think, a lifelong journey. The older you get, the wiser you get, and the more you know yourself better. And if you are a fellow teacher watching this and you're an introvert, then I I hope you can learn how to use your introversion as a good thing and teach your students about it so that you can hopefully help change their understanding of that being an introvert is not a bad thing, and that you don't have to be extroverted. Man, I feel really passionately about this. I thought this would be more of a lighthearted video, but it turned out to be kind of me sharing my heart about this topic again. So maybe I'll do more videos about being introverted in the future. I don't know. What do you think? Do you have any questions? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to talk more about it. If you have something specific that you have a question about, I'd love to share my personality with you more and how I'm an introvert. If you are interested. So thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. And thank you, Janice, for starting this teacher tag. And I'm glad we're having this conversation. And it means a lot to me. So have a good day, everybody. Talk to you later.